Prague in the Czech Republic. It is time to go racing then. Drivers are lined up on the grid here at Dragon Trail Seaside. Who will be claiming the checkered flag, though, in 32 laps' time? Well, Takuma Miyazono did it a few weeks ago in Montreal. Can he make it? 2 wins from 2 rounds here tonight. Valerio Gallo also joins him on the front row of the grid. Row 2 is headed by Takuma Sasaki. And alongside him is Callan Roach, 4th place for the American driver. Next up, Guy Barbara, all the way from down under in Australia. And he has got Kai de Bruyne for company, the Dutchman. Next up, Adriano Carazza, been in the war so far tonight. Can he right the wrongs? Jose Serrano, former and also reigning champion, lines up 8th position with Helena Stroza, P9 on the grid. 10th place will be Kilian Drumont. He needs a good race to get his points tally off the ground. Robbie Heck lines up P11. And then completing the grid is another former and also reigning champion, part of the Team Spain outfit that won it last year, Coque Lopez. Now, interestingly here, Jimmy, drivers going on the medium tyres, all but Coque Lopez down in 12th.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're Coque Lopez, now you've just got to make something happen because you're in P12, you've got 11 of the fastest Gran Turismo drivers in front of you. The only way you're going to pass them easily is with that tyre advantage. But we know the start of his races, being on that soft tyre maybe isn't the best choice. If you have traffic ahead of you, you end up burning up and not getting the best life out of that tyre. But we'll see what happens.
A plethora of medium tyres then to start this race. The only outlier is the man you can see in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. That is Coque Lopez. He's going to make a sharp ascension through the field as it's all bunched up. But how far will he be able to go? And, of course, he's going to be on the medium tyres later on when everybody else, in theory, will probably be on the soft compounds. Will that hurt his charge? We'll find out in 32 laps' time. Who is going to take the checkered flag? And, crucially, who will be leading the championship as we head into Tokyo later on this year for the Gran Turismo World Series? The Nations Cup Grand Final here in Prague is underway. Takuma Miyazono leads the field across the timing line from Valerio Gallo, from Takuma Sasaki as we come through into turn 1 and then turn 2. This is the real heavy braking zone. Is anybody going to think about a lunge? Gallo has a half look there to the inside. The field relatively spread out, but of course a big braking zone there does present opportunities that it may not at other circuits for some drivers. All pretty clean through the first couple of corners. Miyazono it is that still holds on to the lead.
Yeah, nice getaway there from Miyazono. Exactly what he would have wanted here at the start of the race. Lopez making up a couple of places up to P10 using that soft tyre as we said he would. So Miyazono, Gallo, Sasaki, Roach, Barbara, Kai de Bruyne make your top 6 as we go down to the first big overtaking spot of the lap. Now they're up to speed. The first hairpin. Is anyone close enough for a move? Will anyone chance it on this medium compound tyre? No line astern so far. As I say that, Guy Barbara has a bit of a half look. Guy Barbara, I've got to say, driving very well recently, putting himself in the top of his order and being in the top 5. But of course, long race to go here, lots of strategy to go as you go through the chicane for the first time. Makes you wince every time going through. They're so close to the walls. The Guy Barbara moves up into 4th place past Callan Roach.
Yeah, I think Roach made a mistake. That's put him under pressure from Kai de Bruyne. Also, de Bruyne moving up a couple of places then. So Serrano and Inestrosa under investigation for a collision on this opening lap. Meanwhile, Coque Lopez going up the field like a rat through a drain pipe as he goes up into 8th position. We ride on board here with Barbara. Slight lift on the throttle there as we head through this fast right-hander. Sasaki trying to challenge Miyazono, looking for the outside line there. The top 2 going defensive. Sasaki, it is. Oh, big wiggle on a wobble as Gallo runs wide. Miyazono goes through. And now Sasaki, it's all kicking off in the mid-pack here. We go through into the right-hander. Miyazono it is that leads. Gallo in 2nd. And now Roach back up into 3rd place with Sasaki, de Bruyne and Carazza all in tow.
The thing is, all these guys fighting on that medium compound tyre. This is basically for position. There's no tyre deficit. It's just a straight race at this point. Guy Barbara, as you say, getting shuffled down. Look back from Valerio Gallo, now under attack from Sasaki and Callan Roach back in. Kai de Bruyne pushing the American along. Sasaki looking to the inside for a move, maybe defended, maybe a little bit late there. By way the back, who is that? It's Guy Barbara. He's round. Off goes the Serrano as well, off into the barrier there. What happened to Guy Barbara?
Oh, dearie me. It was inevitable that something was going to kick off. Look at this. You can't go 2 by 2 through that chicane either. Oh, I thought Gallo was going to end up in the wall at one point there, but somehow he managed to avoid it. Look at this. De Bruyne versus Carazza. They go side by side through into the final corner. Heck versus Roach further back there as well. De Bruyne now up into 3rd. Carazza relegated down to 4th.
Yeah, I mean, that was just chaos through there, wasn't it? Miyazono, through all of that, has gained a little bit of a gap. We'll see. It's Coque Lopez and Guy Barbara involved in that, so we'll see what the stewards make of that. Gallo now, of course, down to 5th place. It always seems to happen to Valerio. Goes for a very strong move there on Adriano Carazza. Carazza lets it happen. Gallo back up to 4th place and just blocking a little bit on exit there. Nice to see that. Bit slow on the throttle. Halt the charge of Karatsa behind, looking for the switchback. Heck, though, looking up the inside as well. What a drive from Robbie Heck so far. Up to P5 is the American.
Audacious lunge through into the right-hander there for him. Oh, and Heck goes round! Contact there with Adriano Karatsa, I think it was. And Heck, well, we were just singing his praises. The commentator's curse, sadly, is alive and well. And Robbie right down to the bottom of the pile there and thereabouts into 10th position. Now here's Kai de Bruyne on the back of Takuma Sasaki. So it's a Japanese 1-2 with Miyazono heading his compatriot. Through that right-handed hairpin we go into the chicane. It's all kicking off further behind. This will be music to the ears of Koke Lopez. Now what happened here with Guy Barbara and Lopez? Into the braking zone we go. Barbara there on the left-hand side. Oh, he moved over. And Lopez nowhere to go. Not Lopez's fault at all.
He wasn't looking at his mirrors, was he? He was going for the move in the car in front, and there you go. Yeah, I mean, that's an easy slam dunk penalty there. But meanwhile, Kai de Bruyne up to second place. Now, I spoke to the Dutchman before we started this show tonight, and he was saying that I love this car. This is my car, this is my track, and he's up 4 positions from his qualifying slot, and now looking to chase down Takuma Miyazono. Is someone looking to challenge Takuma Miyazono? Kai de Bruyne, relative newcomer to the Gran Turismo World Series, still had a few events as what was doing, and Koke Lopez, of course, also worth mentioning on that soft tyre, has come up from the back of the grid up to P4, but of course we'll have to go on to a slower tyre a bit later on. But a good charge so far from the Spaniard. Is this indicative of what's to come?
Well, Koke Lopez making hay whilst the sun shines. He needs to do that. He needs to try and now build out a gap. He needs to stop fighting with Gallo, Roach, etc., all who are very close behind. You can see Gallo there going for the defensive line with Roach looking to the outside. That may present an opportunity for him, and also maybe for Inestrosa and Karatsa, who are not too far adrift. But now Lopez needs to build out that buffer, close down the deficit to the top 3, and give himself a fighting chance of making the alternate strategy on the softer, faster compound of tyre to work. Look in the background, we're 3 abreast almost as we head into that final corner.
Boys, calm down. You have so long left there, and so that Roach has just lost a few places. I think maybe biffed wide. Inestrosa has a good run there. Meanwhile, Miyazono and Sasaki are now fighting over second place. Kai de Bruyne, what an amazing race he's had so far. He's just got some level of knowledge, and now Miyazono is starting to push back. He's starting to respond. I say that. He goes off onto the curb and loses a bit of time. Commentator's curse is alive and well today, Tom, isn't it?
It certainly is. Yeah, that's the second time that you've said something. The second time that somebody's gone wrong immediately after you've mentioned it. Well, Kai de Bruyne then leading the race, 0.4 of a second the advantage. You can see the advantage that Koke Lopez, though, has got on that softer compound of tyre as we come through there. Bit of a wiggle and a slide. This is the problem, though, with these very aerodynamic cars, is that dirty air can prove to be into effect. But look at that, he's got inside line now, has Koke Lopez. He's got track position. It was a late lunge to the inside, but he's always going to have more grip under braking. Lopez is now through into third place. You can see there he's been racing motorbikes since he was 5 years old, so he's not a stranger to throwing his way into danger, and especially through that chicane. You can see that he's very committed indeed, and surely the race lead is a matter of when and not if for the Spaniards.
He was at the back of Sasaki there, who's so committed on that dive. But now watch this. Look at this extra traction that soft tyre affords. We reckon it's about 0.2 of a lap faster around here than the medium. But I think actually, if anything, it's a bit faster than that. Maybe 0.4, 0.5 of a second as Koke Lopez now bears down on Sasaki in front. Kai de Bruyne, of course, leading this race. On board now, great view here on board this X 2019, using those curbs. See the exit there, just got bare drive off the exit on these soft tyres, lining up Sasaki. We've got the inside here. Next corner is a right hand, and no, Sasaki comes across. Will he go for the dive up the inside? He does. Strong move there from Koke Lopez, right on the curb on the inside, up into P2. Goes a Spaniard from the back of the grid.
Not messing about is Koke Lopez. That was a decisive lunge to the inside at a very committed part of the track. So much more grip he's got under braking. Of course, the caveat to that is on the soft tyre, they're going to wear out faster. So he'll come into the pit sooner. He needs to get himself into the lead, try and build out a buffer to make that strategy work. The medium shod runners, their race will come to them a little bit later on. De Bruyne, though, it is that leads. Through the hairpin we go. Helicopter overhead tracking these drivers as we flick it through the chicane. 13, 14, then into 15 and 16. One mistake can cost you very dearly indeed. Lopez there closing up onto the back of De Bruyne. When's he going to think about making that move? He needs to do it pretty soon.
Have we ever seen anyone come from the back and overtake the field in any of his events? I don't think we have. Even with a tyre advantage, we've never seen it before. This is an absolutely amazing drive by Koke Lopez. So he's in the wheel tracks now of Kai de Bruyne. We're looking back from that rear wing of the Dutch Drivers X 2019. Here comes Coque Lopez. Will he go for a move into T1? No, not quite close enough, but I've got a feeling now, coming up to this next hairpin, he'll have a look. Still looking back from Kai de Bruyne. Can Coque Lopez go from last to first here at Prague in the grand final? Not quite close enough now.
I wonder, I was just about to say, his tyres, they're going to be a little bit more worn now. This is the problem, is that they're great for 6 or 7 laps or so, but coming to sort of lap 8, 9, 10, they're going to start getting a bit worn, and that's the problem, is that performance advantage he had is going to be wearing pretty thin. You can already see his rears down to 40% relative to the medium shod runners around him, and now it leaves him under attack quite possibly here from Sasaki and Miyazono.
Maybe he's starting to feel that a bit now, because he would have went for that move a lap ago. He didn't go for that dive this time. I was saying to him, I think he's going to do it. Didn't quite do it there. And Kai de Bruyne doing a good job of holding on here. Kai, of course, up 5 places from his starting position. Coque plus 10.
The problem here for Sasaki and Miyazono is that now Kai de Bruyne's in front. If Lopez ends up being the cork in the bottle, so to speak, that allows de Bruyne to just clear off into the distance if Lopez starts holding them up as his tyres go off. Let's wait and see what happens.
This has got to be it now. Look how close they all are. First, second, third and fourth, De Bruyne, Lopez, Sasaki and Miyazono all across the line in correct succession. Here they are then, Coque Lopez much faster than the last lap. Now has the overspeed, goes up into the lead. Last to first challenge completed by Coque Lopez here at the Nations Cup Grand Final at Prague. Can he now hold on? Can he pull away from his pack? That is the thing now he needs to do. He's got a little bit of tyre life left. Not much, but I think if he can just extend a couple of laps, make a little bit of a gap, go onto the medium compound tyre and defend, he's pretty much repaired the damage he did in qualifying.
So what Lopez needs now is De Bruyne, Sasaki and Miyazono to start roughing each other up. But that moment there for Lopez has put him under pressure and under threat. You can see now De Bruyne is right in his wheel tracks. He pulls out of the slipstream as we head down into the hairpin bend. And De Bruyne is trying to get that buffer between himself and the other drivers who are on the same strategy. Sasaki biffs it into the back there. De Bruyne has to back out of the throttle. Lopez versus De Bruyne side by side. Lopez now back in front into the lead of the race there.
Looks like he spun the tyres or something. He just didn't get out of the corner. He just couldn't quite get that traction down. Ended up holding up Sasaki behind. De Bruyne now drops down to third place as Miyazono, of course, old hand around here, just sees the opportunity. I'll take that, thank you very much. And Coque Lopez opting to box then. Boxing for Coque Lopez at the end of lap 8. Will he go on to another set of softs or will he go to a medium compound tyre? Let's see.
Tell you who this has brought right back into the fray now here, Jimmy, as well, is Valerio Gallo, Angel Stroza and Adriano Carazza. They've closed right up, courtesy of the fact they've all been squabbling amongst one another. It's pulled them back into that gap. So the battle for the podium becomes almost a 5-way scrap. Medium tyres then for Lopez as he exits out of the pit lane. So he'll be a little bit slower, but of course those tyres will go on for a little bit longer. So he now drops behind Guy Barbara, who, as we know, is a bit out of sequence courtesy of the crash and the contact that he had with Lopez a handful of laps ago.
But being behind Guy Barbara now, if he can clear him, he's got a 5-second gap to drive into. He's got that fresh tyre, so she better drive into that, and that this could keep an eye on Coque Lopez. He's going to be a contender later on in this race. Meanwhile, again, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th, all in your frame right now as we dive down to the hairpin. Once again, Gallo leading in Stroza and Carazza. In Stroza looking for the long way around on Valerio Gallo. Can he make it work? No, not quite. Gallo just beats him to the exit there, but these guys are going at it like it's the last laps of the race.
We were side by side almost with Sasaki and De Bruyne just up in front of those two as well as we headed through the chicane. They've just managed to sort themselves out, but the thing is, if these guys keep squabbling amongst one another, it'll pull them back again from that podium battle. And Stroza looks to the outside here of Valerio Gallo. Gallo's going to run him a little bit deep, possibly open the door here for Adriano Carazza. No way through for there, but look at the top 3. They are now all in the same frame, and it's gone from being a 3-way battle, as I said earlier on, to a 7-way battle for the podium positions then. And these guys are all on the same strategy. De Bruyne pulls to the outside of Miyazono. Late on the brakes we go. Stroza looking for a move on Gallo. No way through there. Could leave him under threat once again from Adriano Carazza. Miyazono and De Bruyne part 382 as we head down in towards this right-hander. Miyazono looks for the move on the inside defence. Here comes De Bruyne. Says thanks very much and goes up into second place. Bit of contact and hip and shoulder between Stroza and Gallo. Drops Gallo now down behind Adriano Carazza as well.
What an amazing race so far. We have 8 cars right now squabbling for the lead, 10 laps into the grand final here at Prague. At the moment, Sasaki leads from De Bruyne and Miyazono, but these guys behind looking to make an impression. Ango and Stroza diving up the inside of Takuma Miyazono makes a move. Stroza, who's been a bit anonymous, I say, so far, now up into a podium position. Miyazono 4th, behind him is Gallo and Callum Roach. Carazza there too, and Drummond. Look how close all these guys are, and we still have 22 laps to go for the lead. Kai de Bruyne up the inside, takes Sasaki back back into the lead goes the Dutch driver. It's action all the way so far.
This is a corker of a race, isn't it? As you said, JP. Out of the final corner we go then. De Bruyne leads from Takuma Sasaki. Inestrosa was about 0.6 of a second adrift of them across the timing line, but it only takes a couple of corners and a couple of spicy moves between these two to bring them right back into play then. Into the chicane we go. De Bruyne it is that leads. There's Inestrosa. Gallo with Miyazono very close behind. Let's not forget, a lap or so ago, Miyazono was in the lead of this race. He's now down into 5th position. Blink and you'll miss it stuff here in the Nations Cup Grand Final. Through the hairpin we go. I'd love to have another look at the tyre life actually for these drivers as well and see just how worn they are, if anybody's significantly more worn than others, because that could prove to be the difference. Or the thing is as well to think about, they're all running nose to tail at the moment. Is someone going to go for an undercut and try and play a bit of a blinder here, get themselves out into clear air, and then hopefully the race will come to them a bit later?
Interesting you say that, Tom, because I'm looking at the lap times right now, and Coco Lopez, who boxed earlier on, did a 16.0 last lap. These guys are all doing high to mid-17s. So Coco Lopez, the fastest man on track right now, is down the field, but before long, he'll be on the back of this massive pack of cars. So, I mean, find me a series in the world where the racing is as close as this. Here comes Sasaki up the inside once again. Now, I think they're getting to the point now where they're just letting it happen. De Bruyne pulls to the right. Inestrosa, I think, is going to be pitting. Inestrosa pits.
Yeah,
first to blink.
Yeah, so he is the first to blink. He's going to go for that undercut then. Where's he going to go in terms of his strategy? Does he go for mediums? Does he go for softs? Surely it'll be a soft strategy to the end. Another pit stop, and he does. Yeah, absolutely no surprise there at all for Angel Inestrosa. The crucial question is, where's he going to emerge? Is he going to be in clear air, or is he going to be in traffic? Comes out, it's not brilliant for him because he's got Drummond and Serrano right up in front of him, and they're involved in their own battle, in their own race.
Yeah, well, that happened. Kai De Bruyne back to lead, and Valerio Gallo back up into third place. Kai De Bruyne there, sideways, gets the wheels lit up coming out of the hairpin. That allows Sasaki back onto the rear spoiler of the Netherlands flags draped X2019. Here's Takuma Miyazono having to lift the throttle. Look at the overrun he's got now. He's side by side with Valerio Gallo. They're all going for the move down here. Kai De Bruyne goes defensive into the right-hander. Free wide then as we go through. Gallo on the inside there. 2x2. This is not going to end well, boys. Filter out. Going through to the chicane now. Who's going to blink first? Kai just about gets back into line again. This ain't going to end well.
This is fantastic, isn't it? So 2 Japanese drivers first and third at the moment, but for how long? Gallo there looking for the move. Miyazono also in the mix. 3 abreast we go once again down into the hairpin bends. So De Bruyne on the inside, Miyazono on the outside. Sasaki's there ready to go as well. De Bruyne comes into the pit lane as well as Adriano Carazza. So they're going to go and get themselves out of trouble and decide to let the other drivers squabble amongst themselves. Fair point, because it's going to cost them all time if they're knocking 7 bells out of one another. And if they can get themselves into clear air once they've made their pit stops, it could prove to be beneficial. Just to correct myself earlier on, it's Lopez and Barbara that Inestrosa emerged from behind. So let's see where the other drivers are relative to Angel Inestrosa. So De Bruyne out of the pit lane and Carazza as well, and they are behind Angel Inestrosa. So that lap where these guys have all been fighting amongst one another, that's cost them track position.
Mate, how good's this been so far? This
Brilliant.
has been amazing, hasn't it? And we've still got fighting going on. Some people are pitted, but still 5 cars in contention there. You can see the tyre life of the cars remaining on circuit. Those rear tyres starting to become an issue for some drivers. So keep an eye out for Wilson, keep an eye out for the tail coming out throughout corners. Gallo now fighting with Miyazono. How many times have you said that in past events as we come to the chicane once more? Great drive so far from Callum Roach, the American driver. He's right in the mix there. Anyone of about 9 drivers could win this race at the moment, I think.
Yeah, he's having a cracker, isn't he, Callum Roach? This is brilliant for him, as you say. Robbie Heck also not doing too badly in 6th position. He's not quite involved in this leading group, but nonetheless still up inside the top 6 at the moment. If the checkered flag fell now, he would score a point.
You know who's been the fastest man on track for the last few laps?
Would it be Coco Lopez?
It's Coco Lopez by quite a bit. So Coco Lopez, his race is coming back alive. Heck decides to box then for that a fresh set of tyres. Roach goes up into 4th place, overtaking Killian Drummond. Sorry, that's where he was before. Apologies. But Miyazono and Gallo, I think they're starting to think, right, okay, guys, we've got to really just focus a bit now. All this fighting, as you said before, all this changing of position, all this squabbling going to corners. It's great TV. We want to see more of it, but of course it does actually harm their races in the long run.
Look what he's done for Lopez as well now with their pit stop there for Robbie Heck, because that's given him from a 5 second to now a 7 second buffer, which he can just go and clear off and drive his own race. This is working out really nicely here for Coco Lopez. Let's see how it works out later on in the race. We're getting towards the halfway stages of this one. Not quite there as it stands for now. These guys have sort of quietened down a little bit now at the top.
Well, think, Coco Lopez is 7 seconds off these guys, and he's made a pit stop.
Yeah.
These guys have not made a stop. That is the time he's made up. So I think maybe they've cottoned onto this and gone, okay, we're actually now at threat from Coque Lopez. What a story that would be, eh? Starting from the back of the field and working his way back up, just using those years of experience, those years of knowledge. That is why Coque Lopez, you can never count him out at these events. Still on board with Kylian Drummond. Will we see some more people pit? We do. Gallo, Roach and Miyazono, or Sasaki opting to stay out though. Will this hurt him?
Well, let's see what happens then for Takuma Sasaki. He's the only outlier. Everybody else, as you said, into the box. Drummond also in as well. Lopez is now going to think Christmas has come early because he's going to have a nice, fresh, clear bit of track in front of him as the rest of the field comes barrelling on through. And you can see what that's cost Takuma Miyazono as well. Now, where is Serrano? He's just sort of in the middle of this group at the moment. You can see him right on the back there of Valerio Gallo. So Miyazono with, 2.1 seconds to Adriano Carrazza. It's working out all right for them so far. But look at that there for Coque Lopez. The only problem he's going to face is this man here, Angel Inestrosa, who's on a quicker compound of tyre.
Oh, contact between the two. Inestrosa wasting no time. There's more contact. Inestrosa in the wall. Tries to go around the outside. I don't really know what he was thinking there. There was never going to be a move on there for Angel Inestrosa. Just looked, and I don't know. I mean, from my point of view, there was no space for that move to happen.
It's always going to be a case of the unstoppable force and the immovable object in some cases for these drivers, isn't it? And unfortunately there for Angel Inestrosa, it's not worked out at all for him. He's now right at the back of the field. Again, it is good news, though, for Coque Lopez. I need to see a replay of that just to work out exactly what happened there. But, as you say, Coque Lopez now clear off. Well, Takuma Sasaki's played over 6,000 hours of Gran Turismo. Good news for him. He's got 7 seconds of an advantage at the moment over Lopez.
Is that what 6,000 hours is worth? Is that what 6,000 hours is worth? 7 seconds. Here's a replay then. What happened between Coque Lopez and Angel Inestrosa? Now, from my view, Inestrosa tried to force a gap where there wasn't one. He's not quite alongside there. Coque Lopez goes through the corner, has a wiggle and touches him. I just don't know. I mean, you're putting yourself in a position where it's going to be very risky out there, Tom.
I think it's 61 half a dozen of the other, isn't it? Like you say, you're always going to be at risk when you're going on the outside of a corner. A moment like that, it's not Coque Lopez's fault. If you have a twitch on the rear, you have a twitch on the rear. There's nothing you can do about it. If you're in the wrong place at the wrong time as the driver trying to overtake, it's unfortunate, but I don't think it's penalty worthy. We'll wait and see what the stewards decide. We haven't seen this under investigation, so they may just deem it as a racing incident. That would be my take on it, but we'll wait and see what they can see with all of their different camera angles.
I mean, I do hope not, because the Coque Lopez story is fantastic, and I do genuinely think it's just one of those things. But as you say, we'll wait for the stewards. They know better than we do, and we'll just rejoin the fight for now. Sasaki, interestingly, staying out a bit longer now. By staying out, that gap
stage now of this race, Brun's going to surely have a...
He's getting three kilometres an hour that he wouldn't get before. So right now, they can
run their own race.